we're all moving ultimately from the grosser experience of life to the subtle, meaning from material, the physical body, this body that we're in, moving into the subtle. Cultivate that relationship with the breath, with spirit. Look for the signs all around you. See the elegant hand of the divine in everything. Attune your awareness to it and be flooded with love and gratitude. And then share that. And one bright morning, when your work is over, you will fly away home. And so will I. And so will everybody else. And there's nothing to fear. It's just incredible. It's so fantastic. Here and now. No more regrets. No more thought it could have or should have been different. It was perfect. It is perfect. You're blessed because you say so.
Hi, Tommy, and all those in this circle. It's just, I just can't believe I'm in awe, as they say, to think that my recovery and my sobriety has brought me to this place where I would even entertain spending time in this situation, you know, and how many days or how many mornings have I woken up saying it, you know, at noon today I'm going to be in a circle of recovery speakers, you know, with Tommy Rosen. And Tommy Rosen and his love for yoga, which, you know, is my thingo, which has come to me in my recovery. But I'm not really, I don't know if I really remember in total what it is that I'm mostly concerned about. I guess what I'm looking for is the book that tells me now that I'm 30 years sober and I'm 80 years of age, what's the next step? You know, and there's so much to be done and so many thoughts and a lot of, you know, reflection about life and things like that. And I do know a lot of, I mean, the past is never going to be changed and all that, and all I have is today and those kind of things. But I just probably want to be that this is the next step, or I don't want to be that person that I see sometimes in such sadness with, you know, on their deathbed when asked, is there a regret? You know, well, I know right now my regret is that I never saw sobriety until I was 50 years of age. But, you know, and I'm so interested in life, and I have this sense of adventure and self-worth and all this other kind of things that I never had until I came into recovery. I have a good life. I never imagined that I would be where I am today. And, you know, it's I've always been one that would be there and hand out lots of times when people didn't even want it. I mean, I'm there, right? I'm there. And so I guess want to know, probably what your thoughts are. How do I come to, I guess if I'm smooth and I'm not, and I'm following one step at a time and I follow God's direction, I guess that perhaps if there is a right or a wrong, I am on the right path. If I'm not in jail and I'm not divorced and I'm paying my bills and this is it. But boy, when you look at it, you know, when I get at this, I've never been 80 years of age before. And when I look ahead, I would joke about it with my girlfriends and stuff. I don't have to buy many more calendars, you know, this kind of stuff just to make light of it. But, you know, I don't know how to explain. It's kind of like a mixed feeling, a real mixed feeling, you know, because why really get bogged down with anything if it's so close to my escape, you know, my escape. There's things that need to be done, you know, cleaning up whatever the wreckage of the past or downsizing my home, and who wants all my books and all my clothes and all that other kind of stuff. But I don't even feel like taking any part of that. I want somebody else to just pick it up and go it. I don't know. Where's the guidance? I know that there's recovery and there's probably groups of 80-year-old ladies that are feeling the same way and just do possibly what it is that we can do one day at a time. And I do definitely, I give my will and my life over to my higher power as much as I can on a daily basis. And I think about, after listening to you for quite a while here for the last couple of hours, there's this thing in the medical profession, if the doctor's not really certain what procedures should come next, they have this thing called wait and watch. So I'm kind of like putting that in where I am today and just wait and watch, because God has never abandoned me. If I can be patient and recognize that the answer will come, the next move will be there whenever that next move is here. But God sometimes can be so slow, and I don't feel like I have a lot of time to wait, you know what I mean? And if you get anything out of that, I would just like to hear some words from you in your heart as well.
Thank you so much for being here, Linda. Your energy is incredible. For those who are not watching this on YouTube or some other place, I'm looking at a woman who, to my eye, appears to be maybe 60, 65 at the most, who has the energy of a 40-year-old, who says things like, I'm just so grateful to be living the life I'm living. God has never dropped me. And that my only regret is that I didn't find recovery sooner in life. To say, I'm just so grateful, and to mean that, and to feel that, is one of the great victories of this life. To be in that energy of gratitude, in that frequency of gratitude, is one of the great victories of this life. It's one of the goals, as far as I'm concerned, for a human being at any age. If you can move into gratitude, and I want to say that while you may feel on some level that you found it late or you were behind in that way, I can tell you that the great majority of humanity never finds what you have. Never. They go without it. They leave the body without having experienced the thing that you're expressing. And so my first sort of comment on this is congratulations on your great victory, on the great victory of being you, on the great victory of waking up, on the great victory of your health, on the great victory of your wisdom that you've grown all these years and all this life. And I have such a reverence for you. I'm so grateful that you're here. And you said, I've never been an 80-year-old woman before, and neither have I. Certainly not in this body. Maybe in a past life, I don't have the ability to see those things. But I can tell you that there's a great victory. It's sitting right in front of me. And you have achieved some amazing things in this life. And let's not forget that as we delve into your I think your inquiry has a lot to do with time, and it has a lot to do with what next, and it has a lot to do with learning how to leave this body eventually when that time is right. And so I'll start in by saying and addressing something about this regret that you expressed. The idea that somebody, could have, should have, would have gotten somewhere sooner than they did is an illusion. If you could have, would have, or should have, it would have played out differently. The fact that you blossomed at 50 was exactly, precisely perfect. Exactly what you needed to experience. Everything before those previous 50 years, you went through the joy and the challenge and the difficulty of addiction in whatever form you experienced it, and the way that you grew up, and the influences upon you, and you started to break out of those influences and to wake up to a greater value of this life at 50 years old, and it was precisely, exactly perfect. At least leave room to explore that idea, that I wasn't late, that there's a design, and I'm a co-creator of the design. I'm along with the Spirit that runs through me and runs through everything. You referred to it as God. I love that word. That's fine. And there's a design, and in that design that I'm a part of, it was appropriate for me to awaken in this way at 50. That means, in the design that we're talking about, everything that took place before that moment was also perfect and necessary for you to have the blossom that you had at 50. And so there's a gratitude even for that. Wow, I suffered in certain ways. I mean, it's not like for the first 50 years of your life, you never experienced joy or excitement or connection or love. But there was the challenge of addiction and the challenge of disconnection and the challenges that we all have faced until we found true recovery. And all those challenges, just like I could say the same, all those challenges were necessary for you to have the unfoldment of your life in this way. And had anything been different, you couldn't have had this. This being presence, gratitude, health, awareness, wisdom. Couldn't have had those things if the design wasn't as it was. And so we step into this even greater value of gratitude, recognizing like, wow, everything that happened was elegant and perfect and designed. And I like the terminology. I see the elegant hand of the divine in all of it. I see the elegant hand of the divine in all of it. Now, on the ego level, the ego wanted something different. Or the ego perceives, I would have preferred something different. And so that part of us, we want to heal the misunderstanding of that. Because the more that we feel like we would have preferred something different, that pulls us out of the energy of gratitude. Thank you, but I would have preferred something different. No, it's just thank you. I see the elegant hand of the divine in all of it. One of my teachers used to say, if you don't see God in all, you don't see God at all. And I find that incredibly valuable as I'm working on developing this greater and greater and greater sense of gratitude in my life. Why is that important? Because with gratitude, I'm very close to God. I'm very close to love, pure love. Love without condition, love without object, just love. Like I'm in a soup of love. I'm just in love. I'm in the soup. And it's love, and it feels right, like there's fulfillment here. This isn't pointless. There's an experience. You've gotten to have an experience. What was the experience? You got to be you. You got to be this person who got to get sober and find recovery at 50, just in the nick of time. Could have been 60, 70, could have been 80, or not at all. But no, you've had 30 years which have led you into this. I mean, you really are so radiant period. I won't even say you're radiant for your age. You're just radiant. I mean that. And so, wow, how did you do that? I imagine anybody would want to know. Anybody would want to know. And it's all perspective, isn't it? I'll tell you a funny story about me as a gambler. So I don't know if you know, but I had a real gambling problem. This is true. Gambling addiction. Very painful. And I noticed the thinking around it was this. So I would play cards, and blackjack, say. My thinking was, at the beginning, ooh, I want to win a lot of money. And then maybe I'd win a lot of money. And my thinking was then, ooh, I want to win a lot more money. Or maybe I'd lose money. And then my thinking was, ooh, I just want to get my money back. And maybe I'd get my money back. And then I was even. Worst thing possible. I've sat here for 8 hours and I'm even. I couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with the thought of it. My point is that my perspective would shift depending on whether I had won or lost money. My perspective when I lost was just let me get back to neutral. When I got back to neutral, my perspective was I need to win money. When I won money, I need to win more money. The only thing missing in this equation is any possibility of being comfortable. Any possibility of actually achieving a goal. What is the goal of the gambling addict? The goal of the gambling addict is to keep gambling. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. That's the goal. You want the internal chemistry to keep rocking and rolling. And so we want to be careful using this analogy. We want to be careful in our life not to be the gambling addict with time. The person who never got sober, who's listening to this and they're 80 years old and they're not in a healthy body and they don't feel good about themselves and they don't know what gratitude is. They just wish they could have had the 30 years you just had. The person who's 20, who's not yet sober, doesn't know how to get sober, smoking cannabis, drinking a lot of alcohol, maybe taking some psychedelics, a little cocaine on the side. They're thinking, I got lots of time. I think I'll let this roll a little while longer. It's all perspective. Of course, the ego is all about perspective. It'll just grab onto the story. Your story, the ego story, the shadow part of what you're expressing. It could have been different. I could have gotten sober when I was 40 or 30. That's just ego. That's just a perspective, but you can't forget that someone else has another perspective. Wow. Look at that woman. What I wouldn't give to be in that frame of mind and frame of body if I should ever be blessed with 80 years of life. It's all perspective. And I learned this thing about perspective from becoming a gambling addict. With time, the ego always engages itself in past, present, and future. But we know that there's only ever been now. And it's really, really very important that everyone listening to this understand that's not an esoteric idea. You only know now. There is only now. There has only ever been now. You have a memory of what was or what used to be the now, but it was the now then. And now you're in the now. In the now at 50 years old, you were probably thinking, please take my pain away. That's all you were thinking at 50, getting sober. Please, how do I stop this madness? Will I ever get to live a life where I'm not suffering in this way? That was the now you were in then. And that was real. Those were your feelings as you were in the frequency of addiction at that time in your life. Now you're in the now again. You see, at 50, there was a complaint about the now. I don't like this now. I want to do something to change this now. You did something. And you advanced forward, progressed in your life in an unbelievable quantum way. And now you find yourself 30 years later and still on a very subtle level, at a very subtle level, still complaining about the now. Well, this is great. This is great. And it could have been different. Very subtle. Now, let me tell you how much of a shift that is from where you probably were when you were 50. So you're saying, your question is, what next? Well, where do I go from here? Where's the manual? What's my next lesson plan? Next lesson plan. Same lesson plan. When you were 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, 68, 78. Be here now. In about what I imagine for you is probably 40 years, when you decide one morning to leave your body and you make the decision, I've had enough now, I'm going to go. I've had a full life and I love it. It's been wonderful. And you say thank you. Let there be no more regret. No sense that it could have been different. Let there be an understanding that you've been blessed beyond what could ever be expressed in words. That nothing was missing. That it was a complete and brilliant and victorious life. With all the joy and all the challenge. And none of it was wrong. And you made an incredible effort. You showed up in your spirit in this body. And now you're going to have another opportunity to do something else. With the consciousness will come with you. Your personality and that kind of stuff you can leave behind. The belongings in your house that you want to give away, you can leave those behind. The next lesson plan starts right here and right now. It will always start right here and right now, and it will end right here and right now. And you continue to work on being right here and right now. One of the great old Buddhist sayings was, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. The directive is the same. If you have somehow managed in this day and age, given everything you've been through, to find yourself in this positive frame of mind, and I know you do this and you must do this, you simply stand as an example for other people of what's possible. You don't even have to say anything. You just show up in front of people with that smile, and they're like, what have you been doing that led you to this place? And you say, I'm so glad you asked. I've been working at being in the here and the now. And I'm really, truly grateful. And I've had the last 30 years of my life as a person on a path of recovery and discovery. And it has been a wild, magical ride. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I recommend it for everyone. And they might say, thanks, but no thanks. Or they might say, I'd really like to know more. Could I have that experience too? Could I have my version of what you're describing? Yes, you can. Can you show me? Yes, I can. So in the yogic sort of life cycle, lifestyle, and life cycles perspective of how we show up at different periods of our life, often the yogis will separate life into 100 years. And they'll split it up by sort of 25-year segments. First 25 years is where, first of all, we're growing physically into a body. We're becoming adults, and we're sort of establishing sort of the foundation of who we are. 25 to 50, we're really doing our work in the world. We're making money. We're maybe having a family, and we're in the world in those kinds of ways. 50 to 75, we're moving into sort of a more training and more mastery. We're working at becoming, letting go of things, being a little more lighthearted, a little less taking everything so seriously, hopefully, right? And this is why people, when they hit their 50s and 60s, some people say, much to the skepticism of younger people, they say the greatest decade of my life was my 60s. And young people are like, what in God's name are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, well, you'll find out when this little thing called relaxation and comfort and contentment actually becomes important to you. You'll find out that you didn't have that in your 20s, but you have it in your 60s if you've done your work, right? If you've done your work. And then 75 to 100 is a really, really sacred time. This is where we're really honing our relationship with spirit. We go a little bit into the cave in a sense. We don't isolate from the world, but we show up in the world in different ways. We're truly an elder in the best, most powerful sense of that word. Teacher, wise person, someone who can really intuit how to help a younger person through challenge. You have the life experience and 30 years of recovery, so forget it. I mean, the assets that you have in this 75 to 100 period of time, you're working at honing, hopefully what I would be working at for myself would be deeper and deeper meditation, more and more calmness and presence in the moment, beautiful enjoyment of experiences and people. For me, I know that putting my hands in the soil, garden and earth is really important to me. I think that's going to be very important to me as I get older, that there's going to be a lot of joy for me in gardening and really going deeper into that stuff. And showing up as an elder, meaning a teacher, in a way that our society doesn't understand. See, we don't celebrate age. We don't celebrate being an elder, but it's the most valuable thing. Your elders of your society are the most valuable. They're the MVPs. And it's just so crazy that we don't recognize that. Despite the fact that we don't recognize that, you recognize that. And understand your value. And understand what an asset you are. And then live it humbly and show up for the need of the moment, as we've discussed in other podcast episodes. Serve the need of the moment, including yourself and your own needs. And then you're moving, ultimately, the sort of final message on this is that we're all moving ultimately from the grosser experience of life to the subtle, meaning from material, the physical body, this body that we're in, moving into the subtle. Cultivate that relationship with the breath, with spirit. Look for the signs all around you. See the elegant hand of the divine in everything. Attune your awareness to it and be flooded with love and gratitude. And then share that. And one bright morning, when your work is over, you will fly away home. And so will I. And so will everybody else. And there's nothing to fear. Nothing. It's just incredible. It's so fantastic. Here and now. No more regrets. No more thought it could have or should have been different. It was perfect. It is perfect. You're blessed because you say so. So Linda, as we explore this, tell me what comes up for you in your mind and heart.
To listen to you and to share this time with you. I have chills. My body, I have such gratitude that, 30 years ago, I was given a choice. I thought there were just two choices. One would be to end my life because, as you mentioned, and there's no doubt, my life was very painful. And I could not imagine, if you have but one time on this earth to live, why you have to be in such pain. I was an active alcoholic, and it was horrible. Somehow or other, I was given that opportunity to go into a rehab program. And I took that plunge, I took that leap, and scared to death and in such pain. I figured if this doesn't work, if recovery doesn't work, if sobriety doesn't work, I can always kill myself. But if I kill myself, I'm not going to be able to come back to this, right? And so that's that road sign or that billboard, whatever it is, that reminds me, and you brought it right back up to me. Again, the things that I forget sometimes, that I know that every single step of my life prior to sobriety, prior to 50, and from that time on, I'm right where I am meant to be. And sometimes I just forget that because I get so wrapped up. You better take care of 10 years from today, right now. And that's when I get into trouble, and I recognize that. And I just feel so full right now, Tommy. I thank you so very, very much. And for giving and sharing, because you helped me out a great deal today, and just the opportunity to be here. And so once again, thank you and namaste.
Namaste. And thank you, Linda. You helped me out a great deal today. I can assure you. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.